Hey guys, what is good? For anybody that don't know us, I'm Spark. This is Russell. We are digital nomads currently on the Baja Peninsula. If you've been following our journey, you know who we are. If not, we're originally from Newfoundland and we started traveling July 2021. And it's been a bit of an adventure. Myself and Russell met again because we actually went to high school together. We hooked up again when I was in my early 40s, and we had a baby pretty quick. She's now 8 years old. She is the light of our life. She is probably one of the biggest reasons that we are doing what we're doing. The digital nomad thing, and just living a very simple, natural lifestyle. Just want her to, experience and live her best childhood, like any child should.
Yeah, and it gives us more time around each other instead of
Absolutely.
instead of just being separate all the time and everyone's.
Yeah. By peeling back the layers and simplifying our life, it has allowed myself and Russell to work on our relationship together, our spiritual relationship, our relationship as a family unit, which is probably one of the reasons that we're here today, because we wanted to talk about how we've gotten to where we are in regards to, for us, we've gotten to a place where basically we put God first in everything we do. And I'm gonna regress for a little bit, because for many years, my whole life, I didn't. And, I lived a life of ego, what's the other word? Gluttony, greed, just full of myself.
Self-centered.
Self-centered. That's
not in a good way.
Absolutely the right word. Self-centered. I struggled with addiction issues, and I just struggled. I constantly struggled. It didn't matter what I'd done. Like, life did not seem to be lining up for me.
So it was never enough, like, money, or it was never enough material things, really. It was everything, like, it was always something was
always
missing,
a lack.
or something was off.
So then, because we were in lack, I think that, probably put you in a state of, would you say, bitterness?
For me, it's more confusion. I don't think, there's bitterness there, but I find most of it just seems very confusing. Why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like it shouldn't be. Things are confusing, to say the least, with everything in the world, right? So, I don't know. It's like history keeps repeating itself. People keeps doing the same thing over and over again, but nothing ever gets really better. So, I guess personally, just trying to explore and do things a bit differently, right? And I guess one of the missing pieces could be that even though I grew up with lots of religion, in our background, and grew up in a religious community and went to church every Sunday, even like you say, and a lot of people do, right? I guess go to church every Sunday, but is it just a Sunday believer, and then the rest of the week it's just up for grabs kind of thing, or for an hour on Sunday? So this is just trying to make every day more like Sunday, or trying to.
And we were talking about this earlier, was that, for many years, probably more of a lukewarm person, had your toe in each side. Right now, for me personally, spiritually, since we got to Mexico, I've been deep into God, right? But I've been in the closet. I can't speak for Russell, but, for me personally, I just got to a place where I couldn't live with my toes in both worlds anymore, right? It was like, okay, I've spent my entire life struggling, mental health, all kinds of stuff. Back when I was with my ex, I started going through a very, very intense spiritual awakening, and honest to God, I felt like I was in the trenches fighting spiritual warfare for a good year and a half, 2 years. It was intense, and I went through all that, and you know, I felt God and I felt the presence of God, but something happened, and I shifted back to having my toes in both sides, having my feet in both sides, up until about a year and a half ago, when I, you know, started fostering a relationship with God again. And it's for me personally, it's been really, really good, because I know how the other half is. Like, if I don't put God first, I struggle. I struggle. And it's not a fun struggle, because you know, ultimately I think that I have control over situations, and I make plans, and think that things are going to go a certain way, and then I have expectations, and nothing ever works out, because ultimately I don't have any control, because you know, God has a plan. And you know, if for me personally, if I wake up every morning putting God first and just ask how I can serve, my days go way better, right?
Well, I would say this, right? So, your belief is God got a plan, because everybody makes all kinds of plans, and this is just with my rational mind thinking about, because so many plans that I made, I ended up going somewhere else, or something else happened in that, right? Uh, so, and I see this everywhere, and I see, like, and I bet you, I would imagine a lot of people are the same, are in the same boat. Is that you plan stuff, you make all kinds of plans, your own personal plans, and then you try to control everything to make sure that those plans work. But then something totally different happens, or you end up doing something totally different, or you end up somewhere where you never imagined yourself being, right? And I think that happens a lot to a lot of people. And then it's like, so how did this occur? How did I end up here? And how did this work out this way and stuff? And so you got to try to believe that, or you come to a spot where it's like, I am not in control of everything. There's something else that's definitely in control, and I don't know if I can. I just choose to believe that God is in control more so than I want to believe that I am. Like, just not there.
Well, I know for me personally that when I didn't have that belief in God, I struggled. I struggled every day, because I didn't understand why things just weren't lining up or working out. And you know, and I went. We live in a world that it's difficult anyway, because on a daily basis we're bombarded with temptation, right? As humans, and you know, and I mean, it starts right in your home when you turn on your TV. When you
I'd say
turn
this
on
though.
your TV.
Can I just interrupt for a second?
Sure.
So, as much as there is, right, and there is like lots of temptation, but there's also, because I think, like you say, I have like always an inner voice or a temptation to do good things or nice things, or yeah, like I feel that temptation also, but something stops that temptation to do the right thing, let's say, because I imagine everybody is in positions at times where you feel like you know what the right thing to say or to do is, but and that's, I would call that a temptation to do the right thing. So as much as like you're tempted by bad things, you're also tempted by good things. So then you get to choose. I think that's what we were talking about earlier. Is I just feel like now I'm at the point where it's like you got to choose, make a choice,
Yeah.
because you can't sit on the fence. You cannot be lukewarm. And listen, that was a Bible verse, right, that we were talking about there the other day, and it was about you're neither hot nor cold, you're lukewarm, and for that, like, don't, like, you know what I mean, I can't deal with you, I can't. So if that's right out of the Bible, that's a Bible verse, but you could apply that to like almost anything that you set your mind to, or something you decide to do. Like, you got to decide, you got to do one thing or another. You can't sit on the fence, you'll never accomplish anything, you'll
Oh
never get anywhere.
God. Yeah.
So that's,
Yes.
but like, and that's out of the Bible. So I can read that, and someone could read that out of the Bible and just apply it to your life, right? But I just,
Yes.
right now I'm at the point with a lot of it is I'm just applying it to, what do I believe? I'm always a middle person, right? I'm always sitting in the middle, and the middle ground is a good place to be, I find, and it's not aggressive, or it's not like telling one thing right or wrong. It's just like, it's middle ground is a safe place to be,
It
but
is,
I
but
don't know if you can survive there forever,
it's
right?
also a self-sabotaging place to be, because it leaves you open to, oh well, I really don't have to make that decision right now and everything, and I'll apply that to life, right? I mean, it's like Russell just said, you got to be all in. I mean, if you're not all in on your relationship, it's not going to work. You can't be in the middle ground in your relationship. You can't be in the middle ground in your work. It's not going to work. You got to be all in. And it's the same thing with God, right?
Yeah, like any relationship, you can't be one
No,
toe
right?
in, like you're in a
You got to
relationship with
be
anybody.
all in. And I mean, we live in a world, I think I was just starting to say that. We live in a world where there's constant temptation, and it starts in our house when we turn on our TV. I mean, we don't have a TV and we haven't had one in years. But I mean, I would encourage you to just take note of the next time you're watching TV, like the amount of alcohol commercials, the amount of junk food commercials, the amount of pharmaceutical commercials. Like, we're constantly being bombarded. And I mean, I know for me personally, Russell can probably talk about his later, but my journey to God was very painful. Very painful. It wasn't like, like, oh my God, I found God and it's amazing. No, it was not like that. Like, I went through a crazy intense spiritual awakening, and honest to God, like, I felt like I was at war with the devil, and it just wouldn't let go, whatever that entity was, because I lived a very, I don't know, what do you want to call it, a sinful life. I had addiction issues. I loved it all, man. I loved it all. And, I was full of ego and greed and gluttony, and I loved it. I loved it. But I struggled and I was miserable. I didn't really love it. I was trying to escape. I was trying to escape. And you know what? I'll never forget when I started going through a spiritual awakening. I was like, I don't want to be one of them people that's worshiping God. I don't want to do that. That's not who I am. That's not who I was told I was. That's not who I was programmed to believe who I was. No, that's true though, right? And I really, really struggled when I started going through a spiritual awakening. And honest to God, like, guys, that started it was like 12 years ago, right? And I'm only recently coming out of the closet. Like, you know what? My life sucks if I don't put God first. That's the reality, right? For me. And I mean, I don't judge anybody, because I know the struggle that I personally had myself, right? I know. And it's not fun. And I don't know why we've been conditioned to think that it's a bad thing to talk about God. Like, what's up with that? What's up with that? Yeah. Right? It's so kind of bizarre to me.
Yeah. It's not cool.
No. I mean,
hey, listen, that's another thing too, right? So that's a battle with me. I don't say it's cool or not cool or whatever like that, but just having this conversation, right? And I think it's more of this. It's more of to actually try to believe in God or believe in something, a higher being or a creator and stuff like that. You actually have to let go of ego, and you got to let go of trying to figure it out with your intellect and stuff. And that's where I think I have like troubles, right? Because I'm still caught in that, trying to figure it out. And I got to know, and I want to see evidence, and I got to figure it out, right? So when it comes to that, I still have my own personal struggles with it, because I'm still thinking I can figure it out. I'm thinking I could, I don't know, I guess it's like trying to prove right or wrong, but I think that's I don't know.
For me personally,
it's not
I've got no interest in trying to figure it out. I just want to feel God's amazing presence inside of my being every single day. That's it. It feels amazing. It feels amazing to wake up in the morning and, not have all that anxiety and all that mind chatter going on, and know that you are being divinely guided in every step you take, and that God has a magnificent plan for you if you just stop fighting, right? If you just stop fighting and surrender,
I think though
right?
too, like a big part of it is the attachment to this material world and stuff,
Yes.
right? So if you don't have any faith at all, and it's like, you know what I mean, you don't have any faith in God, you don't have any faith in afterlife or anything like that, well then this is all you got. So now you're clinging to it and you're struggling and you're trying to, you're in this material, you're trapped or you're caught. So if you don't think about there's something after, or if you don't feel like there is, or if you don't have that belief, uh, it's very difficult, I guess, to make, like, say, moral or decent choices, because everything depends on how I appear or what I look like and what I have and that, right? I remember having a conversation with someone too. Was, and like you say, it's not like, I don't know where that stuff comes from at times, but it was like, I'm really interested in protecting my soul, right? Now, look, I got no evidence of that other than how I feel, and I believe in that stuff, and I just believe that there's something after this, and I really want to protect my soul. And a part of it would be is having a bit of courage to at least say, I'm trying to do that, or I'm trying to figure out this stuff, and there's something to it, and there's something more uh, to all of this, right? And this is what we were talking about, was that I heard this a couple of days ago, was rationality becomes subordinate to something above it, right? It was a conversation between these intellects talking about religion. And one of the guys said, "You're a rational guy," and all that kind of stuff. And he said, "No, I'm not. Not when it comes to it. Like, you can't be. And there is something. And if anyone that lived long enough, and anyone ever like kicked around for long enough, you know that's true. Rationality becomes subordinate to something above it. There's something that's moving you in directions. There's something that guides you. There's something that pushes you. It brings you up to something. You know you should make a certain choice. You know what's right and wrong. You can feel it. You know, and it brings you up to that. And then it gives you the choice. It gives you a free choice. Then now you choose. And then let's say you choose wrong. Well, okay, and I'll bring it you back up to that spot again. And some other time, like down the road, you end up back in the same place. And for me personally, I'm a bit tired of choosing to back off.
I think
I'm a
we're
bit
both
tired.
a bit tired.
I'm a bit worn out from being lukewarm in my belief, like sitting on the fence. And I guess, like, you got to choose. And with the way things are this day and age, and we were talking a little bit about those Grammy Awards and seeing that on the internet a bit, right? And just like, that's mainstream, man. That's exactly mainstream. This is what people are absorbing and watching all the time. And it's like you say, it's theater, and I know it's just TV and stuff, but that stuff do enter into your mind, and you're watching like this devilly stuff.
Luciferian
Well, like you said,
agenda.
they're geared up in the red, and it's like pretending like their buddy's being eaten by these chicks, and it's all like, so that's fine and dandy. But then I see something a couple of days after, or a little while after, and it's like a conversation. Oh, it was on the news. It was on the news, and it was a little chat, a recorded chat, and the person was talking about Jesus and said the word Jesus a few times, and they were bleeping out the word Jesus. I said, man, that's like,
It's unbelievable.
so it was very,
and
it's just very strange, right? So what is up with that? Like, it's very strange. So
what I would like to say too is that, you don't get to choose if you're going to have a spiritual awakening. It happens. You can't control it, right? God, like, I tried for so long and tried to push it away, and it didn't work. It didn't work. The like, when God decides, that's it, right? But I will tell you is that, the devil holds on really tight, really tight. And we live in a world of temptation where you can have whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. And, for us, it's been a bit of a journey. It's been a bit of a journey. Like, it's been years of peeling back the layers and slowly letting go. Like, we came from a place in Alberta where Russell had a fantastic job up in the mines. We had a lovely house in Cochrane, Alberta, and people would think, my God, you got the world by the tail. But guess what, guys? We were suffering. We were suffering mentally, physically, spiritually, and, trying to attain that lifestyle. We just suffered because it wasn't in alignment with who me and Russell were. And the things that we wanted in life. Did we know what we wanted in life? No. We just knew that wasn't working, right? and we had to make massive changes. And, you know, and we have they been easy? No, it's, you know, there's been all kinds of adversities along the way, right? All kinds. To stay within that you know, I'll call it a matrix because I love to call it that, but we just give up one matrix for another. But to stay within that matrix where, you know, in order for Russell to have this job, you know, he had to go away. He had to go away. And I was suffering. Charlie was suffering. Everybody was suffering. And it was like, at what point do you draw the line? Right? And we felt that, I mean, I'll speak for me. I felt that our lives were very, very out of alignment. Did you?
Yeah, it wasn't working out the best.
No.
Because like you say, not, you know, because I guess you're always going to have to make certain sacrifices for certain things now, right? So even like what we did and what we're doing is a sacrifice.
Yes.
And some people just make that sacrifice of doing that kind of thing, just sacrificing your family life.
But what were you sacrificing it for? What were you sacrificing it for?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It was for money.
Yeah, to provide and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you got to provide. I think, like you say, you don't. Yeah, you're chasing like a lot of stuff though, in ways, right? Or you're just hoping that you can make a little bit more money. So you're thinking that your life is going to get better if you just make a little bit more money, then a little bit more money. It'll just get a little bit better and a little bit better, right? And but that is totally
that's a fairy tale.
No, it's not really. No, it's different for different people, but
it is.
You become a slave then to chasing that stuff.
That agenda and that system. So for us personally, and you know what, we don't judge anybody that are doing what they got to do. For us personally, that didn't work. There was massive fallout, and it, you know, would, and I'm sure we'll do a lot more videos on this, but I mean, ultimately that brought us to the place where we are today. And, you know, for both myself and Russell, you know, even in anything, in our relationship with Charlie, is God has got to be first. God has got to be first. And then, you know, we go from there. And that's kind of where we are, guys. It's amazing. You know, it's been a journey. I feel really good about it, right? It's good. It's a good thing. We're not affiliated with any type of religion. We do study scripture every morning, and you know, sometimes I'll read to Russell, sometimes he'll read to me, sometimes we'll listen to a video, and then we talk about it. Right? And how we can take that parable or that verse and take it into the day to help us be a better person. And guys, I got to tell you, life is way better. You know, even when we were in Alberta and Russell had a fantastic job, we still lived with as much uncertainty as we do today. There was still just as much uncertainty, right? There was never, you know, there is no, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I think once we let go of that illusion.
Yeah. Well, once we what actually occurs, or what usually it's all about, is feeling like you know what's going to, and if you got the feeling like you know, well, then you're fine, right? Because tomorrow could be fantastic, but if you don't feel like it is,
no,
well, then that's tough, right? So what most of it is all about is feeling like everything is going to be fine tomorrow, or feeling like you got enough figured out that everything is going to be fine in the foreseeable future, right? So that's where I think where I'm coming to with a lot of this searching and looking into the religion and God, and like being a Christian and stuff more and more, is letting it be or understanding, or trying to
let go and let God,
feeling like it's going to be fine, not through what I'm running around trying to do, but feeling like my faith just lets me know that it's going to be.
And that's exactly it. And that's what I was going to say. So that's the difference, right? You know, we still don't have a level of certainty here, but life is amazing. Life is amazing, right?
I would tell you this though, right in this moment, as I am trying to get this out of me, and that I feel like an internal struggle right now, and we talk about this a lot. So,
Yes.
what is the issue with that? Where does that come from? Where did that arise from? Because it was just like sometimes when we talked about it, and if you mention like religious stuff or God or Jesus or something to someone, they get instantly insulted or they get angry right away, right?
Yes.
So just as I'm sitting here and I'm trying to sort this stuff out, right? And I'm like, this is difficult even to be doing this here, like, and I'm trying to do it. I'm feeling that inside of me, there's something going on internally that's fighting with me saying this stuff, which I find is very interesting. It's interesting to feel that inside of myself. Grew up in a religious background. Everything was about God. Grew up Catholic, went to church every Sunday. You know what I mean? Everything was about Jesus and stuff. Grew up that way. But here I am as an adult. And if I was to speak about it and say, oh, yeah, I'm interested in investigating this stuff more, and I'm interested in speaking about it, and I'm interested in having some conversations, I'm interested in actually never really studied the Bible, just remember the stuff that I heard in church. I'm interested in all that kind of stuff. And it's interesting to me that there's a piece inside of me that is trying to fight me to not even say that or to be willing to even say that kind of stuff. And you see it like all the time.
I
If you
do.
say something religious, someone gets angry. That makes me, and don't even, where's that coming
It's like
from?
it brings a demon out of him.
So I'm trying to, that's a big conversation here too, right? There's lots of psychological like stuff about the shadow, and people have that bad part that's in every single person, right? But it's interesting. I find it interesting to notice it in myself. Because as I was sitting here, and I was starting to get like a little bit angry with this, I said, "This I don't like talking about this now. I've had enough." But it's wild when I noticed that. So when you shine a light on that stuff and you notice it in yourself, and it's like, that's interesting, right? And it kind of makes it settle, or it makes it run away, or something. Something happens with that, right? It's interesting, but
So, while I'm going to clue up, but I want to say actually how proud I am of Russell, because it has been a bit of a struggle for him. I feel that God has given me the gift to speak. So I get super excited to talk about God, right? I have some friends down here that are, parts of, they're involved in different religions. I love having conversations with them. I love talking about God. I love talking about spirit, because once you open your heart and surrender and let the Holy Spirit in, it's amazing, amazing. Are you still going to have adversities? Absolutely. Are you still going to struggle? Probably, from time to time. But when you have God at the center of everything, guys, things are so much easier. So much easier. And I want to say I'm super proud of you, because I know how hard it is, right? Like, I've been in the closet about this, guys, for a good year and a half, maybe even more. But God has been waking me up in the morning at like 4 a.m. telling me, you got to get up and talk. This is what you got to do. You have to share, right? So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. So with that, guys, hopefully you got some nuggets of goodness out of our little conversation. We'll be back again tomorrow. Have an amazing day, guys. What is more amazing, more powerful, and more beautiful than you? God. Anyway, guys, have an amazing day.